Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and this morning we have a job pretty close by. It's just a typical tune-up. Really, we've just got spark plugs. Gonna look everything over, and we have a belt because I'll typically get a belt and bring it with me just in case we need it. He asked me to inspect it, but typically with the tune-up I'll bring a belt anyways. Most of the time tensioners have the same service interval as a belt. Some tensioners are harder to replace than others. I didn't even look at it for this vehicle. I kind of just feel them when I get there. So sometimes I'll bring a tensioner if I'm very familiar with the vehicle and I know it's quick, and I'm not trying to upsell if they don't need it. And that's how I am with all my parts. I'll just bring a lot of stuff sometimes and just give it to them if they need it. But yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll check the belt, and the tensioner probably is okay, but we'll check them both, and we'll get them some spark plugs. So it's not going to be like crazy super interesting, but just kind of like a little normal tune-up. I haven't been doing a ton of these lately. Typically I do them in the early summer. I end up getting a lot of tune-ups. People, for some reason, their cars start running rough. I notice like in late spring. Then throughout the summer, a lot of people call me about AC work, which I don't do. People have asked me about that. I do have some manifold gauge sets. I do have my 609 certification, but anyways, I don't do AC work. And yeah, that's it. In the winter, usually people just worry about their cars not starting, and then in the summer people start thinking about things. The summers and on Saturdays people start thinking about things that they've known about for a while that they need to get fixed. So check engine lights that have been on, just random things that are broken and kind of jerry-rigged back together. People will tend to forget about when it's cold, but people ask what I do when it's cold. Just be cold. So I still do the same work out in the middle of the year. It's just cold, just fingers frozen, but we'll figure that out when we get to winter. You guys will see it. We'll go up there, do this tune up, and this is the only job for today, so it'll be a nice little break because this week's been crazy busy. So here we go. All right, here we've got our new spark plugs, some OEM spark plugs, and a Duralast belt. That's what we're going to be looking at this time, giving everything a look over, seeing if everything's in good shape, but planning on that. So pretty much we'll just need a spark plug wrench, and depending on whatever size doodad that is for the belt tensioner, then we've got the tensioner tool here and some sockets or whatever. So should be pretty quick. Here we go. All right, here we are. So pretty simple design here. I think we don't even need to remove the wires. They give us enough room to pull these coil packs out. Just a couple of 10mm bolts. I have worked on a couple of these engines before, and it's not super uncommon for there to be oil in the spark plug wells where those stem seals leak, but we will check that when we pull those out because there's no, it'll be obvious. So we'll do that, and we'll look at the belt here. We'll get some light on that, but the backside looks pretty good. Yeah, and there's no cracking on the underside there. I don't know if you can see. That's going to be a tough angle. You can see that. The belt looks pretty good, so I'll let them know. But we'll probably end up just doing spark plugs. Scratch that. Those are 8mm, I think. Yeah, 8s and 10s always confuse me. I don't know why. They almost look the same to me. make sure we don't lose these. We'll just put them right up here. And you do technically always want to do spark plugs when the engine's cold. It just reduces the risk of stripping the threads out. This one's nice and dirty. Looks like that gap's probably pretty big. We'll compare it to one of the new ones here. This is an original Ford, so probably the original spark plug. So here's our new ones. We'll just look at the gap and compare the iridium, the OEM. So these have a lifetime of 15 years. But yeah, you can see just how worn down that one is. The gap's quite a bit bigger. He said it idles kind of rough, so this is the most likely culprit, but I told him, you know, we'll check everything out. So some people like to put anti-seize on them. There isn't a rule that you are or aren't supposed to. I believe there is a suggestion that you don't because it increases the risk of stripping those threads out, but you can if you're careful, I guess. But I'm just, I always loosen them by hand so I can feel how tight they are. Since I'm not going to use a torque wrench on them, I will tighten them back down to how tight they felt coming out, and I've got a pretty good feel for it. That'll do it. And the last step is we'll just spray some silicone on here for the connection. And that'll keep this from dry rotting as well, and just help it get a good connection there. So quick like that, we'll do the next three, and we'll probably be done here. Yes, this one looks about the same. Just be super careful with new spark plugs. The worst thing you can do is drop them and bend the gap. So I've done that once, and you can't use them. I mean, if you're in my own vehicle, I'd probably just try and re-gap it and see if it worked. But on a customer's, I had to run back to the store and get a new spark plug. So just be extra careful while you're holding that. Start them by hand. Nice and tight. Silicone there. Some vehicles are quite a bit more difficult to get to the spark plugs. They'll have things on top of them. Nissan Juke comes to mind, where they have a small turbocharger, but they run the piping over top of the valve cover. And you just have to move some things out of the way, but this one's nice and open. I think they used some of these same engines in the Ford Transits, and I think there was a bit more in the way on those as well. Could be a different engine. Also notice there wasn't any oil in here. The ones that I have seen with oil in them, one particularly was in a Ford Transit. Could be a different engine. It's been about 2 years since I did that one though, so I may be wrong, but there's no mistaking that this one's nice and easy to get to. Typically I don't even like to play around with stuff too much with the spark plug in my hand, but I'm just holding on to this one real careful because, again, I've dropped one before and there's no going back. Okay, we're out of pressure on that bad boy. That's an old jar of silicone I've had for a while. Since I didn't undo any connectors, we won't worry about that. I typically like to leave connectors closed if I'm not needing to open them for whatever reason, to get them out or whatever, just to introduce dust and stuff. You can clean them, but my theory is, and I've seen sensors and stuff go bad just from unplugging them before. And so my thing is, if we don't need to open them, just leave them closed. Okay, there you have it. That's how I'll change spark plugs, little routine there. Again, that belt looks fine, but I'll talk to him if he wants to replace it for whatever reason. We can, but I don't see any need to. So thanks for watching. This is a job well done. We'll look at all these hoses, just a little visual. So far I haven't seen anything, but I guess I'll let you know in a little clip afterwards if I found anything. If not, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. This is a job well done. We'll see you on the next episode. The only extra thing I found, this hose, I don't think it was probably even leaking, but it was just pulled back about 1/4 of an inch, so I just kind of slid that up forward again, and that's it.